Hello, I'm Andy Schmuckler. I want to say at the outset that I think Joe Biden is a great guy and has been rather an excellent president. And I also think that Israel is a wonderful country, which is now being governed by the worst elements politically in the country. With that beginning, let me just say I was just saw on MSNBC two men, one American, one who speaks like an American, so I think he was probably brought up in America, but he was an Israeli consul in New York, and is an Israeli, who are saying that Biden needs to change course on how he's dealing with Netanyahu and this Israeli government, because Netanyahu is really taking advantage of Biden's being the nice guy that he is. That's always been my reservation about Biden, is that he's too much the nice guy. I mean, when Lindsey Graham said in this famous little film from 2015, I think it was, about him being the one most wonderful human being God ever made, and if you don't like Joe Biden, there's something wrong with you. I mean, that's his virtue, but he's got the weakness of his virtues, and they're saying, and here's where my frustration and because of my vanity comes in, what I've been saying for a couple months now, which is that the Israeli government under Netanyahu, who is also constrained by having to keep his fascist coalition in place, is really acting contrary to the interests of the United States, and I think also contrary to the interests of Israel. And pursuing the war in a way which completely ignores what Biden has been trying to get them to do. There was a little while after that first opening that Biden made that great little dance of extending himself to the Israeli people, while trying to caution, let's be careful here. There was a little while when the Israelis held off on making their assault on Gaza City, when one could hope that the Netanyahu government was allowing itself to adjust to the requirements of satisfying the American president. But that was quickly sundered by the way they conducted themselves. And it's hard to know exactly how they should have conducted themselves, but all these civilian casualties in the pursuit of destroying Hamas, it hasn't made sense in terms of any kind of reasonable probability of being the best way forward. And as I've said since, I think, December, at the very least, they could have combined what they did militarily with other gestures to show that they were interested in coming to some generally peaceful solution, two states, or even just steps on the way, like making sure that the settlers stopped persecuting the Palestinian Arabs in the West Bank. And they didn't do anything like that. So it's been rather clear for a long time. Now, these two guys on MSNBC, one of them is David Rothkopf, whom I've seen over the years, and another one is, I'm not going to try to remember that name, but they've written a piece in the New Republic, which gratifies me that they're saying, sort of confirms that I was on the right track, well, Rothkopf is saying that he should make his aid conditional, and both of them are saying it would be good to go directly to the Israeli people. Rothkopf said about Biden that he's the most popular politician in Israel today. There was after Biden's initial gestures toward the Israelis of great and sincere compassion in the wake of the atrocities committed on Israel, on October 7th, there was a billboard or banner or something expressing great thanks to the American president. So if he's the most popular politician in Israel, and Netanyahu is very unpopular, the polls all showed. He has a complete incentive to keep the war going because as soon as the war is over, he's likely to be dumped. I'm not sure exactly how the dumping takes place, and I wish that question had been asked because an election doesn't have to be held until 2025, I think it is. This government was formed in November of 2022 and immediately set about trying to change Israeli democracy into an authoritarian state with the courts being neutered essentially and made subservient to the elected government, in which the legislature is really pretty subservient to the prime minister and the cabinet. So it becomes pretty authoritarian, and that was a major battle going on in Israel all the way up to the October 7th thing, which unified the country. Well, I think that the American aid should be made conditional. It seemed like the Israeli fellow in this said he didn't think the aid should be made conditional. But if you don't make something conditional upon the Israelis doing something that's sufficiently regarding of American national interests, and I think that really parallels a lot with actual Israeli interests. I think that what Netanyahu has done may be in his interests, but I don't think it's in Israel's long-term interests. Unless you make something conditional, what is the leverage? Anyway, there are questions I would want to ask about how do you exert real leverage on Israel from where we are, and in the absence of the legal necessity to have a new election in Israel, how do you bring down this government? Because I don't think that anything very good can happen until this government is changed and the better elements of the Israeli political world gain power. I don't know if you can get enough leverage to make Bibi Netanyahu do the right thing. Anyway, Biden is slow to play hardball. This is a problem that we've had with Biden. And as we go into the 2024 election, we will hear from Biden again and again that American democracy is on the ballot. And all that is for the good. But it is not his natural nature. He's not a fighter so much as he's a friend to his friends, and even a friend to some of his opponents. He deals with the Republicans instinctively as my friends across the aisle. That's the problem with Biden, but he did get a lot accomplished. But anyway, with Netanyahu and with Trump, and with the Trump party that we can see unfolding before us, we need for the Biden administration to take a different tack and stop writing a blank check that we will give this support for Israel, vetoing things in the United Nations because that protects Israel, giving them aid without strings attached because we are the good friend of Israel. A good friend sometimes, friends don't let friends drive drunk was the old bumper sticker. And if we're a friend of Israel, the United States, and I am a friend of Israel, friends don't let friends be driven by. They called Netanyahu, these two guys, they called him a malignant narcissist, just like Trump. And the fascists that are part of his coalition. Friends don't let friends be run by malignant narcissists and Jewish nationalist fascists, like is happening now in the waging of the Gaza war. It's time for a change, of course. And they said that it's not too late, which I was relieved to hear, because there's a part of me which feels like a lot of time has passed since it became clear it was time to play hardball with Netanyahu and his right-wing coalition partners. But they say it's not too late, but it needs to be done, and it needs to be done resolutely, and it needs to be done publicly. Rothkopf called for Biden to actually speak directly to the Israeli people. I'd love to see that. I'd love to have somebody who knows how to play hardball write that speech. And in conjunction with Biden, who has showed such a great capacity to reach out to the Israeli people and touch them in their hearts while they're dealing with what remains a national trauma. Anyway, I feel vindicated to hear these two guys, both of whom seem very smart and respectable, saying the things that I've been saying since sometime in December. And with my vanity, or that's not really quite fair to me to call it vanity, but I have I grew up with an expectation that I'll get credit when credit is due. I said this stuff back in December, and I kind of would like to get a little credit for seeing the handwriting on the wall before it became as clear as it is now. Okay, I will be back in a couple of moments making a new video about how today's Republican Party, the Trump Party, has Ukrainian blood on its hands. And that has become very visible just in recent days. And it is part of the same larger pattern that this Trump Party is really quite remarkable in how consistently they make things worse with everything that they do. Thank you. I'll be back.